For the size and history of Bradford City, League One is not somewhere they should be, but they have just previously been lower. Graham Alexandra, ex-Salford manager, has taken them to League One after multiple years of rotting in League Two. The Bantams are on the up, but they must keep going with that, as they've had some horrible years, so they need to get their fans back on side, start winning games, start scoring more goals, and eventually getting their way to the Premier League and Champions League and winning it. As yes, people, as you may have just seen, I am going to be the manager of Bradford City. I've tried to make the transfers change to the best possible ones. We don't have the new captain and midfielder Max Power, but we do have a lineup that kind of resembles real life. Now, I haven't updated squads. I haven't even put live points on, but I have got the new signings like Stephen Humphries, Matthew Pennington. Ibu Ture is a new player. We've got Andy Cook at 33. Now, he has played for Grimsby before, but he's not one I call a Grimsby hero. Definitely a Bradford hero, though. The amount of goals he's scored in previous seasons, absolutely extraordinary. And the reason I don't have the live points on is because I've actually got a mod in which makes every team accurate. So you can see League One this year is every single League One team in real life. The live points feature was really getting on my nerves, and the budget should be more realistic of £5 million now. And we do have younger players at the squad. For example, Sarkovic, a younger player now at 32. I think he has turned 33 in real life, and we can put him in our midfield. It also makes Bobby Poynton not 21. This guy's going to be the future because I remember him actually playing against Michael Grimsby at only 17. And he's a big player with a big future. As you might have seen, I'm the manager. There is no Graham Alexandra, so I am going to get to pick my own formation. And I'm thinking the 5-2-1-2. I like it. As then with a quick shuffle round, it gives us this team going into the season. As another new signing, Jensen Metcalf from Everton. However, he doesn't replace Max Power. I really need to get a central midfielder in. And I've loaned out the one player that's already definitely gone out on loan this season. And Bobby Poynton supporting Andy Cook and Stephen Humphries. As a partnership should be brilliant, as I am going to use my scout this save. Arthur Andrew goes out to try and find some more defensive-minded players for us. And there is two players on my transfer list to start off this save with. We've got Tommy Lee, who hasn't worked out, and also George Lapsley. Or I say Tommy Lee hasn't worked out, it's because I've got new plans in my head, including Josh Newville, who's only 23. I want him to be a cam. And yes, Bobby Poynton is a cam also, so it's going to be Newville and Poynton. But I believe after maybe a season, we do go to more a progressive winger formation. It's just this season I want to stay up. Well, that's why I'm going to go counter-attacking. I do have 5 at the back, and Andy Cook getting very old. You might have seen his rating's already gone down. Yes, we could do with another defender. Maybe I'll look for one of those, but I'm prioritising central midfield. Having no max power could actually harm us, so I've gone for an ex-Man United Academy graduate. And then I believe an ex-Sunderland player. Both of these, both from Hibernian. Welcome to the club, Dylan Levitt and Rocky Bashiri. I think this guy was at Sunderland. I'm pretty sure, but they're both now at Bradford. Not costing all our money and solidly slotting into our team. Now, I know we don't have a left-footed centre-back, that annoys me, but Bashiri's 25. Very physical, and Levitt 24. Not the youngest, but not the oldest. We got them at good rating. We need to try and survive with this team. In the third tier, which won't be easy, Levitt's now our highest rated alongside Humphries, then Bashiri, so it shows our business has been worth it. And here's a bit more proof. Tommy Lee getting 15 goals, a player I wanted out, and Humphries is our top scorer. Andy Cook with only 8. A Bradford icon, now only 60 rated, meaning maybe a striker next year. Or maybe a formation change by the mastermind, Waddle Stentonio. Yeah, that's a leak of my real name. We'll just say MWS, it's easier. As Sarkovic to a midfielder, 63, but he is 33 years of age. Really getting a lot older, and hopefully can be replaced by Jensen Metcalf, who's gone to a 63, and now Newville to a 67 as a cam. That's brilliant, but I'm actually going to try and change him now to a right wing. And Bobby Poynton to a left. Or hang on, I might actually switch them both around. If you know me on this channel, you know I love my left footers on the right, my right footers on the left, and I do not love this position we've finished. 19th, it is survival. There is Doncaster and Stockport going down to League 2 again. Them two teams I'm going to look at the players of to maybe poach one or two of them, as in the FA Cup we lose to Chelsea, a team that Bradford has beaten before in the FA Cup at Stamford Bridge. However, we're not there just yet in this save, as Wycombe beat us in the Carabao first round, and then in the BSM Trophy only losing to Plymouth 3-2, showing this was actually a decent run. Who won it? Plymouth? No, Bolton. 3-1 over Luton, showing there is some strong teams at this level. However, we just need to get stronger. I've got tactics to change, signings to make, and if you are in this for the long haul, make sure you do drop a like. And also, you might have heard this already, but we're on the race to 60,000 subscribers, and at this moment in time, we should just hit that in time for FC26. If all keeps going as it's going right now, it's only £4 million as a budget. Not really great for this second season, but it's formation I'm more bothered about. Not even signings, and hang on, contracts. Maybe we sell some of these players to raise a little bit extra funds. I mean, Alex Patterson, Baldwin's not playing. We sat on a bit of cash, but first we're going to come out of the counter-attacking. I'm actually going to go wing play, and you know I'm going to actually change to wingers in a 4-3-3 attack shape, and I'm going to have target forwards and inside forwards up front. Once we have the players to do so, as Bobby Poynton to a 63, who could be a lot higher, and Josh Newville to a 68. His positioning changing a lot, as now we've actually got Metcalf stepping in the midfield over Sarkovic, so that's a good change. We've got Levitt at the side of him, Lee just in front. We've got a pretty solid defense for this level. Maybe not a promotion one, but we definitely need a new goalie. And then I am going to sell a lot of players. We need a cam on this bench. We have Lapsley, who's 27, but I am going to go on a selling spree of players I actually don't want to keep, and George is the first of those. Going out the club to Fulchbach Club, and he's gone for almost $500,000, which is fine by me. The next player I do want to sell is Alex Patterson, and then we're getting some decent bids in for Josh Newville, but he is a shining star and got a team of the season card in real life in FC25 for his days at Wimbledon, as there's Pato, he's going for almost $500,000 as well. And then we've got players like Neil Byrne, 32-year-old, never gonna get used here, so he is out the club, leaving us $6 million. But another player we sold is the goalkeeper Sam Walker. He went to Barry and he was 6'6", being a bit of a monster, as now we need a monster to replace him and hopefully help us climb the league system, as 6'5" City Salo from Celtic now comes in as our highest rated player. Does cost probably the most money we've ever spent, but he's hopefully worth it. There's only 23, and now we just get some backup positions. I do want another winger, not as high rated as Bobby Poynton, to be a backup to him, and we found this man Andrew, relegated with Exeter City. I said I would look at the relegated clubs, and this man Leo Castledine, so rather unconventionally, I'm going to start by getting the backup winger in. He should be cheaper, and then Castledine, like a dime, comes in and looks fine, signing on the dotted line for Bradford to help us out. Sources close to me telling me he was actually a Chelsea academy player, and by sources I mean my phone, which is in my hand, very close to me. Just looked it up, and he's 71 rated. He's really improved this season. Bobby Poynton, not too much. Humphries has. Newville, he started at a 62, now at a 73, plus 6. A transfer request submitted? Sorry, mate, but you're going nowhere, as this is the best crop of players, and is the best crop of contributors. Humphries with 21 goals again. We've got Newville. Tommy Lee actually outdoes Castledine. That is something I obviously do want to change, with Castledine being low rated, 6 years younger. Gotta try and work him into the team somehow, but then again, not gonna sell Tommy Lee when he's contributing goals for us, as one of the rivals, kind of a local Yorkshire one, in Huddersfield, top of the league, then Bolton. I said there were strong teams here. They're going up, and then Cardiff, Peterborough, Wrexham and Oxford make up the playoffs, with us and Lincoln City actually missing out somehow. Love to see Lincoln City missing, but us not so much, as where did we go out in the FA Cup? Oh my days, it was Lincoln again. They need to give up with us, as in the Carabao, lost in the first round to Stoke. And then in the BSM Trophy, back to the usual, finishing third in our group. Something that's very common in our saves. We just hate playing in the BSM. But hopefully next year is our last year in this tournament as we aim for promotion. Need to be grabbing it this year. As you can see, I'm releasing a lot of players. Right, Tyreek Wright was actually a very good player, but not one that's necessarily needed. And for a bench player, was on a high wage as we don't get much money anyway. I can't really sell many more players and only 4 million to operate with. Kind of dodgy, as the teams we're probably going to be fighting this year. We've got Cardiff, we've got Derby. Doncaster back up here, making them struggle. As one thing I am going to say, because we do have Josh Newville, we have Humphreys, and we have Castledine, and even Levitt at very decent ratings. If we fail to get promotion this year, I probably am going to sell my best players to hopefully accelerate the promotion chances in future seasons. We've been at League One for 3 years now, and we are desperate to get out, and I am desperate to grow Bobby Poynton, so maybe fullback is an area we look at. Brad Halliday is now 30, could maybe go, but I know how long he's actually been at Bradford, so I kind of don't want to sell him. And then Jensen Metcalf is only 21, so he's got to stay around the team. We've got to try and keep our young players. They equal growth, as I'm only just remembering in season 1 we put a scout out. Might have just forgot about them. Plus, it's only a one-star academy. It would have cost us money to offer players contracts, and plus it would have cost money to actually put the scout out again this season, as Pennington, $500,000 is going to either Plymouth or Wednesday for. And there you go, Sheffield Wednesday. So good on them actually back up and spending money. That's not bad for a central defender, as I didn't actually check the relegated clubs last year. Oh my days. And I just thought Pennington went to a club above us. Sheffield Wednesday, somehow in EFL League 2? Must have fallen straight through the league system. No idea that was actually down here. Now they've got a youngster in Gabriel. They've got an older player in Deshaun Bernard. Charlie McNeil's a very decent striker who I may actually come back to at some point. As Deshaun Bernard here, I'm going to bring him to Bradford, going to bring him back up to the league. He somehow previously got relegated from as a 73 rated. Don't know how that's possible. That signing looks like it's done the business. 110 points, 35 wins. Wrexham gave us a very good tag along, but we were so clear of the playoffs. It is unreal, which is Rotherham, Barnsley, Cardiff and Oxford. Maybe would like to see Barnsley up there. So we've got a rivalry going into the Championship after being title holders. After 3 long and hard seasons, as you can see, we lost in round 2 of the Kefe Cup. Kefe Cup? What the heck's the Kefe Cup? Didn't mean to actually say that right here. As Carabao Cup. We actually beat Norwich City, losing only to Brighton Hove Albion, who were a strong team in the BSN. Please, now we're getting promoted. Oh my days. Round 2 loss to Barnsley of all sides. Now I'm back to hoping they don't actually get promoted, as not much growth in the likes of Castledine, some in Metcalf, not in Newville, not really in Poynton. Or maybe it's just growth I'm not actually seeing, because we've got a +4 to Josh Newville. Yeah, +2s, +3s. It's not the growth we got in season 1 and 2, but it is growth. And we didn't need much to actually go ahead and win that title, with Stephen Humphreys grabbing 27 for an old man now. He does like scoring. And as you can see, we dominated the team of the season, with Humphreys being a striker next to Antiste, who actually outscored Stephen Humphreys. And I cannot believe he's at this level. They get called Hollywood FC for a reason, and he's actually lower rated than Stephen Humphreys. Not something I expected, but he's only 24. Kind of a failed wonder kid. I mean, from League One quality to actually playing in League One is a bit of a drop-off, as this team, I think we've got to work on them fullbacks. As you can see in the formation, they are playing wing-back, and with a 31-year-old and a 32-year-old there, I think we need someone with more pace, especially if we're going to aim to try and get promoted to the Premier League, which is something I'd love to do quickly, but that bench doesn't look too strong. And also Stephen Humphreys, now he is 29. Going to give him another contract, but I'm watching him, because once he gets a little bit older, Will Swan is not a very good backup, same as Harry Ibbotson. We'll need someone there. We've got Kavanagh, Now at 23, not going to work. Maybe Neufville could play up front. And maybe it could be if we keep training him, as now we can go out of the country on scouting missions. I'm going to check the rest of the world for a fullback either side, because I genuinely feel that's where you find the best ones. And an inverted one potentially could be Polo Harris, 70 rated, left footer on the right. He could be quite magical, you know, and I'm actually selling Halliday to give him game time, as he goes to Belgium for almost £3.5 million. That is perfect, but now we've got to go out there and find a very good quality left back. Then maybe some bench players as Martin Marquez, a Portugueser. Never heard of his name, but goddamn did he have some decent stats on him. Yeah, he's not very physical for a fullback, but the dribbling, the pace, the main thing that matters for a fullback who's going to have to get forward. Now we could do with another midfielder. We could do with a centre-back that will grow into the team, and preferably a left-footed one. As yes, I am fully aware when I signed Deschamps Bernard, I was looking for a left-footed centre-back, and he's right, but that's not what matters right now. He did go and get us promoted, and I am going to just bring in the one player, a centre-back who's left-footed, and he's quite young with potential to grow. And here he is, Acuna. He's a left-footed one. I had to go for a 21-year-old, 64 rated, didn't have much cash left, because I'd put it all into this team with the fullbacks. Marquez, he could do with being a 75. Then Harris, I'm going to give him time to grow. Next to Deschamps Bernard, as I'm actually going to make a change to his position. One thing I don't use much is false back, so I'm going to try it, because he is on his weaker foot. It said he can play CDM, so if he steps into the midfield more, I think he could actually offer a bit more cover next season, which could be a big one, because Josh Neufville's had a transfer request in for some time now when he's 27. Maybe it's time to cash in on him. We've got decent ratings apart from him. We'll need a new striker to try and replace Humphries. We'll definitely need maybe another winger, because Bobby Poynton is 70. Still going to keep him around the squad, but 3 goals, which is actually less than Harris, Castledine, Levitt, Neufville, and Humphries himself. Grabbing 23 goals in the championship, very good numbers, but when you look at the strikers that are actually in this league, there is some good ones. Georges Mikataudze of Sunderland, then Ipswich had 2 players up there, as they of course are up there, them 2 getting promoted back to the Prem. As don't say relegation. Okay, and 13th. Yes, 21 defeats, but that's a very promising finish. We will not be going back down to League One, so very nice. Need to keep on plodding along, though. We want to be in that Premier League, playing the likes of Leeds, as Aston Villa beat us in round 3 of the FA Cup. And then MK Dons beat us in the Carabao 2-1 in round 1. As maybe a cup run could be good for the finances if they don't improve next season. Not that we can count on money like that, as the budget's gone up. Now £9 million. And we do have a moneymaker in the squad. I was fully behind the idea that we just sell Josh Neufville for a budget. But now we've been given a budget, I don't think I'm going to rush to sell him. Although I do think it will be useful for us. Bobby Poynton, I really do want to keep around the squad, but I am going to bring him down to the bench, as my plan is to rebuild the bench with the 9 million we've got right now, then maybe sell Josh Neufville and rebuild the first team with the money from him, and do it in 2 stages. So yes, I'm going to count, where is it, Bobby Poynton as a bench player. And that reminds me, we've actually got contracts to sign. We've got Jensen, who's going to move to the bench. In fact, let's just make what I think our bench will be to see where we actually do need to sign. Right, goalkeepers, definitely priority number 1. Get someone maybe high rated but old. Then we need a striker, a left back. I'm going to leave Poynton, Lee, and Metcalf as they are for now. Maybe we replace them further down the line this season. If we do sell Josh Neufville, a Santiago Beltran, you can't beat going free agent with a goalkeeper. Saves your money, saves your budget, leaving us £8 million to still only fill 2 bench positions. And this is a name I haven't heard in years. Still at Southampton, Dominic Ballard. Now only 23, no in-game face, but still very young and very ambitious to join this Bradford project alongside Ryan Manning. If you haven't seen the wonder free kick this man just scored on opening day to beat Wrexham last weekend, you're missing a trick, as that's our bench and that looks a lot better for the Championship. Now Manning is old, but he's experienced at getting promoted out of this league. We've got Ballon, who's only 23, who will replace Humphreys, as we need to replace players here. Bradford City now running out of money. We've got contracts and everything to still sign up, so you know what that means. We are going to lose our dynamic winger. He came at 23, leaves at 27, 81 rated. Newville to Aston Villa, a lot of money into our bank, leaving 3 positions to be covered. Firstly is our left winger. Then we've got our central player, John Patrick. I think you guys already know who he is. And then finally, this man, Hussein Bullet. You do not know who he is, but you will get to know him very shortly. As there's the business if you want the alternate view. Chandra Campbell does come from South Africa. That's a really bad accent. Club Brugge, in fact. And John Patrick from Stade Rennais. Then we've got Hussein Bullet from Everton. Now, we did only pay 6 million for this guy. And it goes without saying, to replace Bobby Poynton at Bradford, it's going to take someone really special. Potential to be special, 17. We signed him at 16. He looks unreal. He got 8 goals in his first season, same as Castledine, who's been here a bit. Then John Patrick. Then somehow Stephen Humphreys. 27 goals from this man stood up front on his own now, as we've only got 1 player below 75. This team is very good. We built a good bench. Rocky Bashir, who now is the captain. He's got 88 physical, 77 pace. Decent stats, but he is not left-footed, which is a huge thing for me, as I want to see the team of the season here somehow. Get a better judge on how we did, but when I'm simming forward, we've got a player of the season announcement, and it's Stephen Humphreys. At 30 or 31-year-old, the striker that was signed in real life from Barnsley has lit it up. Despite not being in the team of the season, oh dear, only 1 player in there from ourselves as our finish. We finished 13th in the Championship. 69 goals scored, 69 conceded, 0 goal difference. I mean, there was Everton and Nottingham Forest down here, but still, I expected us to be in those playoffs, as there is no cup run, losing to Luton Town, who I think are below us still. And Sheffield United on penalties in the Carabao Cup, only in the first round. And I think having a top scorer, but then still conceding 69 goals, tells us defence is what we need to work on. We have just signed 2 fullbacks. Still 14 million is enough to replace him. I'm sorry, Rocky Bashiri. Probably the best footballing name imaginable, but you've got to go, blood. He's going to sit on the bench, which looks fairly strong. I mean, Don Ballard at 24.76. That is not bad for a Humphreys backup. However, Acuna's got to go out. He's a left footer who I would have liked to actually grow into the squad right there, but I do want an experienced left centre-back, and I'm not even talking Championship experience. I just want a really good one. The attack we've really signed up is good, so I'm going to go out the country, go on a tour of looking for other players, and I think I've just found the player straight away. Yusuf Achicek, he's 6'3". He is Turkish like the signing Bullet we made, and look at that. He's actually running out of his contract. Okay, and it's not exactly what we envisioned, but still, we've got him for 7.8 million, which is so fine by me. Him and Deschamps Bernard at the back, that looks beautiful. I genuinely feel comfortable. We've got some money. We've got a decent bench as well, with the likes of Bobby Poynton. Tommy Lee has been brilliant from the start. And then Jensen Metcalf. I know he's 24, the youngest of the bunch, but believe it or not, I'm going to sell him. 3 million to go to a Belgian Pro League team. I think it was Kortrijk, as then we've got Acuna going out on loan to Holstein Kiel. Over in Germany, he was never going to play. We've got Rocky Bashiri now as a bench option, because that's the only position missing. Yes, we've got more subs that we can use this season. Dylan Levitt is now 28, the Manchester United ex-academy player, meaning we'll need someone younger, and this guy's from in our division, Isaac Moore of Coventry. This guy's only 23 years old. And there is that defensive change coming in to push us up. We finished top of the championship on 102 points. Centurions again. 12 draws, 88 goals scored. Let's be honest, it's the goals scored that have actually put us back into the Premier League, or should I say back into the First Division, which is very exciting. Then again, the Cups, we hate them, but I don't actually hate losing to Grimsby Town on penalties. Just take a look in the background to see where my real-life allegiances lie right there, as then Port Vale on penalties in the Carabao round 1. That's more disappointing. As was Humphries' top scorer this season. When we load it up, he outscored Lozek, Stansfield, Jack Clark, Emil Rees. But unfortunately has gone down a rating now because he has hit 32. We've got Don Ballard down here on the bench. My days, Ryan Manning's gone down as well. Should have known that when I signed him as an old man, but then Levitt's out of the team. The captain's curse strikes once again because what a signing this guy looks to be. We've got some very decent ratings around the first team now, some 80s going to the Premier League, and the top scorer was obviously Humphries. Then again, backed up by John Patrick. A very capable playmaker, as now we've been going to the Premier League with the high defensive approach, the attacking style, the balanced build-up style. I am going to slightly put that down, and then I'm going to probably change my tactics a little to this. Now we've got Ballon as a wide playmaker, Moore going out as a half winger. So Harris can slip inside because he's left-footed. He likes to go into the centre mid position, and Moore can obviously go out on the right, being a right-footer. As signing-wise, honestly, if we swap Humphries with Don Ballard, I think Don Ballard's going to grow, but that should be a Prem quality team. Maybe on the bench, Bobby Poynton and Lee could improve. Then we've got Acuna back at an 80 rating, so his loan deal did pretty well, better than Manning now. As in fact, in 157 weeks, this guy can replace Manning entirely, becoming our left back as in the Prem. £38 million. It's not bad, as I honestly don't feel like we are going to be the weakest team this season. There's Burnley, Fulham, Leeds, maybe Sunderland or Nottingham Forest could go down. Watford, we know Watford can always go into a bit of trouble. As signing-wise, where do we go? I'm completely bewildered on where particular. But with Humphries going down, I hate to see it. I know he's been our top scorer for years, but we could do with the striker. There's no one out the country. Oh, sorry, nobody in the rest of the world. The first place I love to check. The usually cheap and very good as Mason Melia. He's Irish. This could be enough. We'll have Humphries, Don Ballard, and now Melia, who's Irish and goes alongside John Patrick. It could be the answer, you know, and when you wonder why I'm saying John Patrick, he was never really Irish at the start. I believe he was from Spain, as we'll just have to survive, and with 20 million, another player. It's not the end of the world, and I think we will be surviving in the Premier League quite comfortably. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to sell Dylan Levitt, an ex-Manchester United star, to bring in now another X1. Now he's moved to us. And there it is, the team. Where is he, the man we've just literally signed? He's on the bench. It is the man, Toby Collier, at an 83. Has already beaten more to that spot in the team. But look at Castledine's growth, an 87. All 80s, we've got an 85 goalie and an 83 midfielder. Showing growth has been on the up. It's actually a +8 for Leo Castledine, who grabbed 24 goal contributions in 41 games. I think the ex-Huddersfield and Chelsea man has really hit it up right here. He was just waiting to get back to the Premier League, as we do have a position swap with Toby Collier to an 86. As a centre mid. Firstly, why did they sell him, Manchester United? He's clearly the next Scott McTominay. Coming over to Bradford, he had 89 dribbling. Why did they keep him as a CDM? Which, oh my, had us really good this season. 7 on the goal difference. We conceded a lot of goals, but we scored the same as Arsenal. 11 defeats, only 5 draws, but 22 wins, probably courtesy of Leo Castledine. Sees Bradford go immediately into the Champions League, although I don't feel like we'll keep it. Surely we don't, as Stoke City win the FA Cup, and we did reach the semi-finals, actually losing to them as in the Carabao. Port Vale on pens again, but still, what an improvement from last season, where yes, we were in the Championship as the success, reached the semi-finals. Now that for me is too high. and I'm actually gutted we're in the UCL this season. I know I made a video on Palace last week, how they were demoted into the Conference League, but I feel like that's what we could have used. It could have been a springboard of momentum for the Bantams here, as we haven't picked up back-to-back promotions in the seasons that we've currently already done. So if we do bad in the Champions League, it could demote us, but £76 million. Maybe if we get the business right, we could actually stay in the Champions League, but I'm not going to count on it, and I'm not going to count on Deschamps Bernard, as selling Dylan Levitt last season really helped our finances, and he's done well in Portugal. So maybe selling Deschamps Bernard could be good for us. But then again, his stats are absolutely phenomenal, and he is the captain of the club. Maybe we do sell Rocky Vashuri. Decent stats as well, but he's 31. He's older and probably weaker. And being a Champions League club, we need to get rid of the weakest before the strongest. So I'm going to probably replace Bernard, but Bushiri goes out permanently to Feyenoord. It was good in League 1 and League 2. Probably do need another cam at the squad, but then Castledine is the new captain. Probably the captain that doesn't get replaced by us, as we just need a cam that's going to go on the bench, and I don't think we've got maybe over 5 seasons left in us, so Mohamed Cham. Player I've been searching to use for a while, won't cost all our money, literally cost less than what we've just sold Bashiri for, and will be a backup. Keeps us still up there with the money, and I am, of course, trusting Bobby Poynton. Now, we could do with a fullback on the bench, but priorities do not lie there, as we have 73 million and a centre-half that actually can be right-footed for once. There are many that pop in my head from over the years, but then again with Bradford City, we're not the likes of Barcelona, so we're not going to be signing Ronald Araujo. I wish I could be saying yes to the likes of Alessandro Ferreira. Look at the stats on that man. We've already signed a centre-back from Atleti Madrid. In our Turkishman, as now we're going to pair him up with the Ukrainian linked with PSG, Ilya Zabranyi, 6'2", decent stats, decent release clause. If we can just pay his contract fairly, like PSG are trying to do with Bournemouth in real life. Sorry, Bournemouth fans, of reminding you of another defender that could potentially leave you in real life. But here, he joins the Bantams in their search for Champions League glory. Oh, and although we just signed a defender, I mean, we do finish above the rivals on goal difference, Leeds United, but it is 7th throughout the Champions League, so unless we've won the Champions League, Bradford City will be taking an almighty step back. As I did say, I didn't feel ready, and we did have an injury to Campbell. Malia has struggled a little bit, only 83 overall. Midfield's kind of stayed the same. We've got Zabanyi to an 87. We've got the goalkeeper, one of the highest, Sinisalo. He's been here ages, since we signed him from Celtic, but he's still the second highest rated, because Leo Castledine, 89 at 26. The captain leads by example with 25 goals, and Malia, despite struggling on his rating, gets 20. Not bad. Bullet was even up there, but when you look at the other players in the league, there's no doubt why we're down there. Mickey Moore now at Arsenal. Castledine beneath him as well. Beneath Palmer, as then John Patrick on assists, is 8th, but Sinisalo, he does like a clean sheet. Our Finnish superhero, as we couldn't finish a journey that I really want us to take, winning a domestic trophy. We lose on penalties to Newcastle. That is absolutely heartbreaking. And I'm also going to be heartbroken if we don't win the UCL, which we need to do, because that means minimum another 2 seasons, as the quarterfinals we lose at the Carabao to Aston Villa, and we finished 19th, then again just below Madrid and Inter, meaning we had to go through a playoff round, which we won against Celtic, and then we beat Villarreal 4-3 on penalties. Very good. Before going into the quarterfinals, and a team I always say we can beat us in Dortmund. 4-2. Very hard to take. Oh well, we move, and we definitely win whichever competition we're in next season with this team. Incredible stuff. Now, Harris has filled in as that CDM as a false back, but maybe it's time we actually change him out. Just get a regular defender, put him down onto this bench, which, yes, that is it. We've got a maximum of 8 players in reserve. We got rid of all the dead wood, which I was hoping would get us a bigger budget. It kind of does for a team not in the Champions League. £94 million. We've got assets such as Castledine, Sinisalo, Zabranyi, Toby Collier, but then the big man himself, Hussein Bulut. At only 20-year-old, 94 pace, 87 dribbling, one of the world's best players, and we do have him on that cutting side role in the team, but despite him actually being on the wide playmaker drill, which should favour him, he needs more goals, so I'm going to let him roam on inside forward. As we're expected to reach the Champions League, expected to reach the final of the FA Cup, but continentally zero success, and that's from losing the FA Cup, which is gutting. It's gutting. We lost on penalties and it has cost us European success, but now we've got to go and buy it. We cannot be outside of the Champions League. Yes, Champions League next season. So I'm going to go out there and spend money. Not spending too much on a right back, but Malo Gusto, 90 pace. We do, of course, play wing backs. Or we'll be changing to a wing back formation. Now, we do have Harris benched. As back to the tactics we go, we've got him on his plus roll. Now, Toby Collier can go a bit more centrally. Symmetrical team shape, and I like it. As we still do have £58 million. We've got a very solid backup cam. We could do with someone better than Poynton, but I honestly want to keep this man just because. He is Bradford through and through. Now, Don Ballard I didn't see get many goals, so we do probably need another striker. Malia was okay. I think we'll get back into the Champions League, and signing a French player makes it a French revolution of Bradford to get back into the UCL. And that's Kolo Muani into the squad. Did I go a little bit too old? Yes, because when he actually came here, he was 84 overall. And now he isn't, as this main team, though it does well on its own. We've got two 90 rated, 88, 87s, and 89. Plus, I genuinely think Mason Malia would have got pushed by Kolo Muani. He's a Champions League quality striker. The Frenchman coming into the squad, meaning Malia has to score more, and he has. He's got 16 goals, but still less than the winger, who we changed to that roaming drill. Bulut, what a display. What a display in the league game. We've never finished outside the top half of the Premier League, which is a good achievement. Didn't expect us to this season. We finished second, above Liverpool, above Arsenal, and the same finish we had season 1 here. This time genuinely surviving, but not thriving in the FA Cup. However, thriving in the Carabao. Finally, we've done it! A big cup for the Bantams, one we really had to work hard for, but that is the Carabao Cup, meaning if we didn't have UCL, we would be in Europe. I'm pretty sure, as the winners of Europe are a team that finished below us in Liverpool, they might have signed half of world football, but we can do that next season. I'm hoping anyway, as where do we actually have to sign? I have been looking at striker, but maybe left wing could be the way forward. I really liked the man Campbell, but £77 million. Let's be honest, that's not actually the budget I expected getting back in the Champions League, which we, funnily enough, are expected to win from the board and also win the Premier League title. I saw that one coming. We've been second twice now. And yes, if we're going to get a winger in, we probably need a winger out. And I'm actually thinking about Chandre Chamble, however you say his name. I can't even say it. It's too warm today. The number 10 is going on the transfer list because Bobby Poynton has got 1 year on his deal, which will probably get renewed because he's Bradford through and through. As let's take a visit to New, as he's gone to an 88 at 32. If we do sell Chandre Campbell, we could potentially afford to bring him back to Valley Parade. Plus, being 32 could make him cheaper, as big bids in for Deschamps Bernard, but the biggest one of all, because he's only 27 at 86 overall, is for Chandre Campbell, so out he goes to Newcastle. I won't say goodbye to that much money, so 170 million made from his sale. And now that's interesting, because £226 million, a lot of cash, and a player on that transfer list or transfer hub that I really liked. When he was here, he's gone down one again, so he is getting cheaper for us to bring back. As yes, I'm gonna go and fetch Josh Newell home. He's a right footer, of course, going onto the left-hand side. A bit more expensive than I thought, but still, that does leave us with a lot of cash in 107 million. And I think it would be way too greedy to go in for another striker after saying I'll trust Melia. But guess what, Bradford City? We're loaded, we want success, and I like buying strikers. So welcome the Portuguese regen Brito. And well, I loved to sign him. I loved actually bringing him to the club, but he's not the highest because Malia just likes to run away with it. Now, an 89 with a 90 at the side of him, a 90 behind him, 3 90s behind him. This team is looking really good. The defense is absolutely quality. Neuville's obviously had his drop-off. His prime years were probably at Aston Villa, but he still grabbed 7 goals with 4 players above 25. Ridiculous, ridiculous, and ridiculous we couldn't do it. We lost less games than Chelsea, but still we finished second for the 3rd time. Bradford City are the new Arsenal, it seems, in FC25 as Burnley. Oh my days, they go ahead and win the FA Cup. I really wanted the FA Cup, and I don't like losing to our rivals, especially by 5 goals as Burnley look a decent team this season. Losing only to Liverpool, we do the same, losing in the semis. Then again, not our biggest thing. We're in the playoffs though. Real Madrid are below us. At least this year, if we don't win the Champions League, we'll still be in it next year from finishing second. As Atletico Madrid, 3 goals to 1. We win the playoffs yet again. Going on to Athletic Club. We like the Spanish Athletics. And I'm not talking in the Olympics. As Paris, we beat 4 goals to 2. Then luckying out with Lille, Barcelona lose to Manchester City, giving us Manchester City versus Bradford City, the battle of the English North. This should be interesting. The 90 rates I'm very excited about. I've always liked Bradford's kit and the stadium that's been in League 2 against my club Grimsby Town, but I'm yet to actually visit Valley Parade, and I don't even live too far from it as Castledine get that through the middle. It could be an early start. Malia, what a terrible touch. It's Josh Neuville. No. That would have been some return. We just can't be missing them ones as Castledine. John Patrick around the corner in Malia. We really seem to be running at Manchester City here. Then again means nothing until we get a goal as Neuville. That's a good cut in. Now Malia. That's a good ball onto Castledine, who's been playing that role just behind the striker. Tackle, please. Rodrigo. I think Manchester City are actually looking at signing him now, or maybe have by the time you're actually seeing this. Oh, that was a bit of a stretch, and a penalty's been given. I can't believe I've actually dived in there. Stupid from me. Can't believe that went through my head. And Yusuf gives it away. It's going to be Erling Haaland. Hard to save his penalties. I think that's the first time I've ever saved a Haaland one. Sinistallo for the history books. We need to be careful with these tackles here. Ball falling back to Semih Kilişkoy. A lot of Turkish players on this field in the finale. As another big save flies in. And it is Zeze with the flying header towards the back stick. Castledine to bring this away. Look at that run, but there's another man actually at the back, which I didn't expect. Leo with the ball into Melia. Now onto Collier. Toby Collier, ex-Man United. It would be fitting if he scored. He's got a man at the side of him. He doesn't pass it. And that's a beautiful double save from Donnarumma, linked with United, who's just stopped everything, really. Hating playing against him, but a good ball. It is Bulut. He turns the keeper, rolls Gianluigi into next week. And our superstar from Turkey gets the goal for Bradford City. The opening goal around the hour mark. Look at this for skill. The ball roll, and then almost nutmegs the goalkeeper whilst he's on the deck. Brilliant from the 16-year-old we signed from Everton. As Manchester City's defending's been good, we can't actually say they haven't been good. Out the back, it's Josh Neuville. Maybe it scores himself. He tries to get that back heel off, but Castledine, brilliant flick over the top. Onto the post as well. Donnarumma saves it literally to the side of him. It's been brilliant, but now Bulut out of his way. He goes for the shot. It falls again. Kilişkoy. What do we have to do for a second goal here? Well, put the ball in the back of the net. That's one thing. As now Bulut on it again. Maybe him crossing from further in. Put that across the deck again. It's Patrick. Another save. I think we still might win the game. But this has been a squeeze as Josh Neuville. It's squeezed over the top. Josh Neuville into the box. Bulut tries to arrive. It might fall for Castledine. Referee. There we go. What an incredible game, I've got to say. To say it was only 1-0, a lot happened in both halves. However, the main thing that actually happened was Bradford City win the UCL over Manchester City, and Leo Castledine, what a gem. If you're looking for someone in career mode, he's either at Shrewsbury, Huddersfield or Chelsea, according to when you update your squads. As if you want to see some more squads updated by a rebuild by myself, comment them down below. And don't forget to subscribe or click here for another video.